Let's begin tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Is this on? Yes. All right. So I'd like to excuse Mike Connors and Gabe Galbert. They're going to be gone today for this study session. They both should be here for the board. And I don't think we need to take any action, right? We're just making a note that they're gone.
Yes.
All right. Today's study session has two topics. We have a topic from Ron Mabry on the state board and then education board. And then we have our second topic is, oh, there we go. It's also my mic kicked in. Joe's behind the Wizard of Oz behind there. And then the second topic is about our alternative high schools and our vision with those. So because Ron's not here yet, we're going to reverse the order of things, right? And first go into the alternative high schools. Tracy, do you have anything to say to kick us off?
No, we can just get right going on the topic. And what we can do when Ron gets here, we can just pause.
Okay.
We are in
Get back to it.
talking about alternative programs.
There he is.
Okay.
He's here. Let's pause.
Right.
Ron, step up, please.
Perfect time.
Good to, right there. You have a
Hot
notepad.
seat.
You have two KSD pens there for you to take home.
Nice.
And use nothing you probably don't have a couple already. So Ron, thank you for coming here. Ron's asked if he could come and talk to us on the state side of some things. So Ron, let me just turn the time over to you and have you go for it.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Start off with something I hate to start off with, and that's an apology for being late.
She better be.
I'll probably get a ticket. Okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's worth it.
All the cops in the parking lot are because they were chasing you.
Yeah. I ran them all. So, hey, it's good to see you guys again. Feels good to be in front of you. You guys too. Good to see you. As you know, I took us another step, and that's on the state board. And I don't know about you, if you remember anything from the state board when I was on the board. I don't remember anyone coming in telling us what the state board has to offer. And I said that was one of the things I would change if I got on the board. So I'm holding to my promise by giving you a chance to question me here after I present some things to you. And maybe we can come off with some items I can do for Kennewick School District on the state level. Okay. And I want to start off on a couple of things. And one is actually, I'm gonna work off of this, okay? Which may not coincide with what's on the board. I want to give you the mission of the state board. And I know these mission statements can be boring, but bear with me if you could, just to listen to what we're trying to do on the state board. It's to cultivate equitable and inclusive K-12 education system that fulfills the vision of every student. And I'm gonna stress every student, because I think there's some students that we leave out, and I'll touch on that a little bit. Being empowered with the knowledge and skills that they need to thrive in a changing world. Now, what I want to stress with that every student is that not all students learn the same way. And I think we miss some pathways for some students that might learn or may be forced to learn on some OJT situations, on-the-job training situations. And I'm thinking about the kids that have to leave school early to go and work, or come to school late because they have to work before school, or miss a whole season of schooling because they have to work out in the fields or what have you, whatever they have to do for their life situations. We still need to educate those kids. And I think there's ways we can do it. Or those kids may be getting even a better education because they're getting hands-on training. If you think about a kid that has to reconcile the tilt at the end of the night at a family restaurant, or even a fast food restaurant, what better economic training is that than actually doing it, performing it? And I think there are ways we can get credit for that. We can work with industries and show that hey, a kid that goes out and help manage a farm can probably manage a business and can probably get some credit from our economic side of our training efforts. So, and that's part of that Future Ready. So I'll touch on that a little bit later also. There's a website for us, and this included, or I can get it, have it sent to you. And it's a very well-developed and informative website. So we get that information to you guys so that you can see what we have to offer and can contact me whenever you want to take advantage of what we're offering on that website. One other thing I want to see, I would love to see students from this side of the state. I mean, when I say this side, the east side, not just Kennewick, but the east side of the state, apply for these student member positions. As we do here, the state board also has a couple of student positions, and on the state level, they actually vote, and their vote counts. And boy, have we learned a lot from these kids. And I hope I don't offend anyone, but it's West Coast kids. It's the kids on the west side, not West Coast, but west side. And we know that we have unique opportunities here that are a little different than what's on the west side. So we need some kids from this side to represent. Oh, that's a question. I like that. Good.
How many students or how many spots are available?
Two.
So two spots?
Two spots.
Across the state?
Yes. But I'm trying to change something about that too. So what I'm trying to make is two people kind of fill those spots, but I think the other kids that apply should be a committee. And the two that win should report back to that committee, and that's disseminated across the state, whatever they decide to do. So it's almost like having a president, vice president that you vote, and then that committee is represented by those two members. That's what I'm proposing.
So is there a possibility of having like areas, like you have a east and a west, or one from each side or something like that? Or?
Well, I'm trying to promote it because I'll be honest with you, we haven't had an applicant from the east side. So there's never been a need to do that yet.
Now, if
we'll make sure you
you
do
had
this.
to, if they're like, you had to get an east coast or east, east side of the state.
Yeah.
Then maybe people like you, and you're pushing it, and it's getting pushed out more.
Right.
Where are the meetings held?
Olympia or across the state. Great opportunity for a kid to travel across the state. I've known this state so much more. I know about this state more since I've been in this position because the meetings are held different areas around the state.
Now, do they need to be able to drive there, or is this something they fly to? I'm just thinking that, they reimburse travel costs, but they're sophomores, so most of the sophomores would be possibly, most of them probably wouldn't be driving.
It is a commitment from the parent of a sophomore. It is some commitment from the
So
parent.
they apply their sophomore year, but would serve their junior year. Is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that by junior year, most of them are driving.
Most of
Driving.
What?
It's still a family thing. I would be afraid to send my kid when he was a junior
All the way to.
driving across the mountain too.
And then how are the students selected?
It's a selection committee similar to how we select them here.
So it's they
They
fill an
interview.
application, and
Yes.
then it's a selection committee that chooses the two students from the pool of applicants.
Yes.
Are you aware of any particular attributes or experiences that the committee is looking at?
I'm not on the committee and I'm brand new on the state, a year into it. So I can tell you what I've seen of the folks they select. They're outgoing. They have a cause, something that they are passionate about. And usually it's the student voice. They're passionate about getting the student voice out there. Positive people. And what I mean by that, they're positive and they can communicate well with someone and get their voice across without being argumentative. I guess that's what I want to say. And it's all these skills, you develop some of these skills as you are interfacing with board members. So you don't have to come in with great communication skills. You need to present well during the interview process. You certainly need to present well. But boy, they come out of there. So the thing that I would love for all kids are to experience are the connections. You're talking representatives, you're talking head of schools. It's a great opportunity for especially someone that would love to get into the public field and even politics. It's a great. I would just love to see someone from the east side, someone apply if nothing else.
We can definitely get the word out
That'd be
to
great.
students. Yeah, for
That
sure.
would be great.
And is this a single-year term,
No, it's not. I think it's a 2-year term.
2-year term?
2-year term.
Okay.
So every year it's not open, because if you get two,
It's like we do here. We stagger. You
Okay.
get some junior and sophomore, and the sophomore moves up to the senior,
gotcha.
and you add someone.
Every year there's one spot available.
So there's one spot a year, with each year being filled by a new student.
Correct.
Got it.
How many, do you have a gauge of like how many students apply?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't know exactly what's the average amount that we usually have, but
I mean, I imagine nobody applies because they don't know about it,
that's what I'm trying to fix right
you
now.
know?
Yeah.
You're right. You're probably right. That's my effort to bring that up today. Let's get the word out there from this side of the state. Right? Okay. Now, this is what I'm passionate about, future ready. And I'm ready to tell you about this, right?
Good.
Ready to tell you about
We're
the
ready to
future. And speaking of that, Mike, listening session, there's a listening session. There's actually 2 of them, I do believe, and that's what's on the board now, where you'll be able to call in or sit in on a session about this future ready, and you might be able to get more information that I'm able to share with you today. That's happening, let's see when it is. It's 12 to 1. You can register online through Zoom. I don't know if I have the dates on here. I can search.
Oh, yeah, it's on the second page of this.
Okay. So are the dates on there? March 11. Okay. On the March 11. So if you can jot that down on your calendar, you want to just listen on, please do so. They give a great presentation, a lot better than what I'm going to provide you with today.
So both meetings are March 11th?
Yes. I think it's from 12 to 1 or from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. March 1st. Okay, this Future Ready is an initiative aimed at updating the graduation requirements. And the thing that got me really excited about it is that it's going to involve industry, a different way of looking at how a kid earns credit and applying these different formats of credit to our profile of a graduate. We're still going to try to work to make sure that they fall within that blueprint. But at the same time, going back to what I already said before, if you have a working student, we should be able to work with the employer, with the teachers to add a curriculum or work it to a curriculum where that student is getting credit that will help satisfy the 24 credits. Now, I want to stress that we're not asking for additional credits. We're not saying additional credits will be required. You want to see how we can work those in credits that's already required for a student to graduate, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. We know that there's a changing landscape that we're presently in our rural, and that landscape puts families in a situation where their kids have to help out, whether they're,
I'm just trying to think of the next step. I totally hear what you're saying. I agree.
okay, yeah.
So Tracy, this is kind of a question for you. So does that mean that we would, not now, but in a meeting or something, ask you to look into a way for a student to get credit while they're in the workforce and how those apply towards graduation? Was that what the step would be?
Well, I think there's 2 things. One, we already have a policy on the books that allows students to work and get credit. And so that's already in place. I think this is more about the state boards, because the state board is the body that sets graduation requirements.
Right.
So right now, the 24 credit required, how many credits you need in each subject, that's what the state board does. That's one of the things that they do.
Mhm.
So I think I don't want to speak for
No.
you and the state board, but I think, right, you guys are going through a process of listening and input gathering to determine how to maybe reframe some of the existing requirements
Okay.
to ensure that they're like matching up with the future ready skills. So I don't think the next step is necessarily something for us to do specifically in Kennewick School District.
We're just looking for, like, so Ron, what you're asking for us, you're not asking us to take action with our district. You're asking us to give you feedback on whether we like this idea?
I want you to give feedback to the state. I'm just introducing it, but like these listening sessions are gonna give you opportunity to say, give
Okay.
feedback. So what I'm doing is preparing you for this session, this effort. I'm not asking anything but to get the word out today, Micah. And then, well, I guess I am asking, listen, when the word comes out, listen and ask questions, be inquisitive, even ask the students, you know, hey, I heard about this future ready thing. What do you think of getting credit outside? Those kind of things, and parents.
And
Absolutely.
anybody can get on the Zoom, right?
Absolutely.
So like some of our ladies who are always here, who are very engaged.
Sorry.
Who are very engaged, I mean, they can do that as well, right? Anybody can do that.
Everybody can do it. I'm misusing that on purpose. Everybody can do it because I want everybody to do it. Because we need the energy behind it, and we need to know upfront what are the obstacles, what are people thinking would be something we would have to look out for.
So, I mean, the thing that keeps coming to my mind is the plan to have some competency-based assessment.
Mhm.
So, because, I mean, you can go out and get credit, but are we aligning the credit that they're earning to one of the state standards? And how are we determining that work experience has actually developed the competency needed to meet that graduation requirement?
And I'm gonna give you my answer.
Yeah.
Is that's why I said we're gonna involve the teachers and whomever they're working for. And what my thoughts are is that we go out and we say, okay, here's the criteria that these people are gonna need to get credit for this course. They're gonna have to be able to make change, or they're gonna have to show leadership skills. They're gonna have to show some math skills. And if they're able to do that, working with a teacher who oversees this program, then to me, that's showing that they're competent and they should get credit for it. But no, it's not a freebie just because you're working at McDonald's after work, you get the credit. No, you got to earn it, and it has to be reviewed and approved. Good question. And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
How do we do that? So
One of the things it sounds like, Tracy, maybe what we can do is make sure that these meetings on March 11th
yes,
are maybe posted on the district's social media pages and on our calendar, those kind of things. That way the public or those people that are looking at our information, possibly even put on some like on school links or something along those lines where parents can be made aware. This is a state board meeting to learn about potential changes or potential, not changes, but additions. Sounds like this is more than how would you say it? I'm hesitant to say change because it doesn't sound like the traditional pathways are still going to be there. This
Right.
is just
addition,
an additional
enhancement.
pathway
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
for graduation.
What I thought was kind of interesting, yes, we can definitely get the word out on that. What I thought was interesting on this one document, it says current requirements are overly complex and fall short of equipping students with essential skills for success in a rapidly evolving workforce and society. Future Ready will empower students with essential knowledge and skills like digital, financial, and cultural competence while streamlining the framework, that 24 credit framework, right?
You're right.
To promote accessibility and equity. So, as we have talked about things like financial literacy and, how do we fit in some of those essential things given the,
Limited time.
yeah, I think that this work from the state board really aligns with a lot of the things that we've been talking about. And also, I thought this was just kind of an interesting note, and I don't know if you want to comment on it, but, in the last few legislative sessions, there have been bills, and we've talked about those too. Now, is the state board's sort of advocating for, let's not do one-off bills. with new requirements.
Right.
Let's have the state board do a comprehensive strategic approach to updating the graduation requirement.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. And under this timeline and milestone, this leads to what you just said. It's already kicked off. I don't know if you know that Future Ready is already kicked off, and we have approval to work it towards year 2027. That's when we anticipated it'll go to the legislature for approval. So we have been approved to develop this Future Ready program, and then we have to present it, estimated to be year 2027. Okay.
Wow.
That seems down the road a little bit,
Really far.
but it's not. Like in the
Government efficiency.
So
yes,
soon.
yeah, in the theme of the way our government runs, 2 years is a short period of time to get something ready for a legislative action.
Our government will go out of business. It was a real business.
I didn't hear that. So, what'd you say? Okay. Okay, so and I also like to point out that it's an effort to modernize what our education system looks like without putting additional burden on our students. So no additional credits. If you think about what we're doing at TriTech and these other efforts that we try to teach kids outside the norm, this is right in conjunction with that. And we're getting them ready. This is also a point we want to stress. We're getting them ready for their secondary post-education life. And what I mean by that is not necessarily college. We're getting them ready if they want to be, you've seen the wonderful things they're doing with the cooking, I say the wrong word, but it's the cooking program.
At TriTech.
Yeah, TriTag, the dental assistant program, the firefighters, all wonderful stuff.
Trades, jobs, college, whatever their next step is, we want to make sure they're ready for it and succeeding.
And I want Kennewick to be, I'm a little bit, you know,
You're a little biased.
tainted, a little biased towards Kennewick. I want us to be, I'm going to say it, sorry. I want us to be ahead of the West Side schools.
Let's do it.
In that program. I want to be leaders, and I want to say we're already a step ahead. So that's my purpose.
Okay.
Getting ahead of it now, getting us prepared. I'm up there. I was at a meeting here where Gabe said one time, and I'm glad he's not here so he won't punch me, but he said he was trying to get in touch with someone in Olympia and couldn't get any response. And I was sitting there thinking, that's my job. Tell me, because I'm not joking. I just met with Chris Rector 2 weeks ago. And if you need something, that is why we have a representative from the East Side. Contact me and I'll do what I can. I'll tell you what I can't do, but I would certainly do what I can. You have an ally in Olympia. Okay?
We appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ron, we have like 5 more minutes if you want to, got anything else?
Yeah, I do. I want to use every minute that you give me here. So there's some frequently asked questions here. You should have gotten a sheet with some frequently asked questions. If you had a chance to look over those, maybe I can elaborate on any of those. Any of those catch your eye? Is something you want to hear more about? If not, I'll tell you one that I want to tell you more about. And that's sort of what I just said. Is what is my role? What is the State Board of Education role? As part of our duties assigned by the state law, the Board of Education is responsible for setting the requirements, reviewing them, and propose changes. And that's what we're doing right now. We're going to be proposing changes.
Yeah, quick question for you. I know last year there was potential changes in the financial literacy. Do you foresee that coming to fruition and passing? Do you see any other changes that in your meetings they're talking about, changes in requirements that we maybe need to be aware of that'll be coming down the pipeline in the next year to 2 years?
I do see some with that financial, it's gaining a lot of steam. There are people want to do it, but again, there's a but. There's always a but. Do not increase the number of credits required for a kid to graduate. So we have to find a way to put that financial training within the coursework that we already have. So if you're doing science, you have to figure out how can you teach a student science, but at the same time, financial responsibility while they're doing science. So, hey, what's the price of that microscope? How would you raise funds?
So one suggestion I have in regards to that is you could have multiple classes that fulfill that requirement. Like you could have a math, like a financial math class. You could have a financial science class. You could have a financial.
Right.
So you could have multiple classes that sort of meet that requirement. That would be my suggestion for you to think about. So it's not just like one class. You have this is one elective you got to get in within the next 4 years or whatever.
Right.
It's almost like you have a couple different avenues. If you want to focus more on the sciences or the maths, you can do that and take more of an accounting type financial.
Yes, that's a great idea and it's a great idea. But realize that our budget is getting smaller and smaller. So when you're looking at, hey,
I realize.
I want an instructor for financial science. It may take an additional instructor that's qualified to teach on that level or that topic. And so we have to look at that. I'm not shooting it down. It's just something you have to realize.
Yeah.
So Ron, can I just ask a question then? So I'm aware that we have a number of students in our school district that do work and that, sometimes miss a good portion of their school day because they need to work. And I can see how something like this will fit in well with them. But is the intention of Future Ready also to expand those opportunities so that students that don't necessarily need to be working still have the opportunity to go and have real world experience? Is that the idea?
Say the last part again.
So I'm just trying to, I guess I entered this conversation thinking very narrowly about it. And this was a graduation pathway for students that have to be spending a lot of time in the workforce. But I'm just looking over at the frequently asked questions and realizing that is the intention to give students real world experience.
Absolutely.
While still in school. So, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
great question. Because what I'm thinking,
jobs.
yes, internships, we're really pushing that industry, offer internships with the purpose of developing our students to work in that industry or that area.
Okay, so instead of taking an AP English class, now you're going to go and do an internship with a publishing house. But we still need to figure out how to get you the competency and the credit for that English class that you would be missing.
Correct.
That's the idea. Okay.
That's the idea, yes. Or same with engineering or scientists or farmers. You can do internships on a farm and get your agricultural credit or get some
Okay.
business credit.
Thank you.
So, and then Tracy, in addition to letting just the general public know, I mean, can we do some targeted invitations to our CTE staff and to all of
get the word
all
out
those
to
people
all
that know?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Great.
Tracy, do we have future teachers aides?
So we have our we have teaching academy, CTE courses in our high schools, and then they do kind of on-the-job internships in our elementary schools.
Okay, yes.
And then we've got the Teaching Bridge connection with WSU Tri-Cities.
Okay.
So those students who are interested then get like auto entrance into WSU Tri-Cities.
Right, yeah.
And then when they start there, they work as substitute para-educators for us.
Yes, yeah.
And then they continue their teacher certification program. And of course, the intention is we hire them back.
Yes,
Ron,
absolutely.
we might already
See
be
ya.
ahead of the curve on all this stuff, you know?
Let's brag about it. Let's take credit for it. If we are,
There's two other like bridge programs like that. One is agriculture based. It's that Cultivating Futures program through CTE that's new. And then the other one is they have a nursing bridge program that's new at TriTech. And so it's the same concept. They're in the CNA program at TriTech. They're working at like trios and area hospitals, and there's tuition assistance and all this kind of stuff. And they're early entrance or auto entrance into WSU Tri-Cities nursing program. So there's a bunch of these, I mean, starting to have, I shouldn't say a bunch, there's three, right? But starting to have some of these programs that make it really, that provide the support for students to
What's our attendance?
get that on the job training. I can get you all the numbers for those
Great.
programs, but then also just like give them that support to enter right into post-secondary
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
get
I'd-
the
I'd love
on-the-job
to know how
training
many
while
people
they're
we have
doing
in that.
education.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get the numbers.
And Ron, has the state board talked at all about, I know you're not looking to increase the number of credits required, but are you looking at adding additional requirements as in an internship in order to graduate? You have to have done a semester-long internship somewhere or anything like that. Has that been discussed?
No,
Okay,
we're really shying away from anything that says additional.
sure.
Yeah, but it's a good point. And what you just said and what you just shared about these, that's the kind of stuff we need to hear during these future readies. And hey, does this encompass what we are already doing? And bring those points up. That would be great for the rest of the state to hear. That we already done. One last thing I'll leave you with.
Sure.
The other thing that I'm passionate about is that we have a lot of programs around the state like TriTech, turning students away. And if we have so many students being turned away, I think it's an indication that we need to expand the program. So, and this is statewide. They're just turning a lot of students away saying you can't get in. And to me, that's a darn shame. If you have that much interest, and we're supposed to be fulfilling what the students want.
TriTech is
So then-
expanding, right?
Yeah.
The numbers have grown bigger and bigger every year.
Mhm,
We're going to remodel this next year.
mhm.
Yeah,
And I think that's all from funding that comes specific for,
from the legislature for the
So
county.
go and talk to the people in Olympia and tell them that we want more money.
All right.
And then
If
we
you're
can
willing to-
expand it.
Right, though, like the demand, the supply does not meet the demand.
Yeah.
No,
It's just too bad.
we're working on it out.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do. All right.
Thank you,
All
Ron.
right, Thank
Good-
you.
Good being in front of you. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Good work.
Where's my picture?
Did he get to go home with that picture? I was just curious. No.
Did he get it?
Yeah, what did he get it? In like a
I think we did. I don't know.
plaque or something? I'm just curious. All right. Okay. Switching topics now to our alternative high schools and our thought and vision towards that.
So I'm just going to share a few brief things, and then really this is an opportunity for us. And I want to mention that Rhonda Pratt, our Director of Secondary Education, is here. Of course, Matt and Alyssa are here, and I'm pretty certain, almost 100% certain, that Guy he was planning to join to listen in via Zoom. So Guy should be out there too.
Hi, guys.
So this is mostly for us to hear from you, but I just want to set the stage a little bit. So you'll remember that for the past 2 years, we have had an objective to review our alternative learning programs. And we call them choice programs. Sometimes they're called alternative learning. You can think about those terms sort of like synonymously. So that work started in 23-24, and we're continuing that work this year. So when we think about what's our vision, well, first of all, like what are these programs that we have, right? When you look at the continuum and offerings that we provide here in Kennewick, we've got MCP, which is Parent Partnership Program, and it's K-12. And then they also have a fully online K-8 program available through MCP. We've got Phoenix High School, which is a project-based high school. We've got Legacy High School, which is really a small alternative high school. We have Endeavor High School, which is a fully online 9 through 12 high school. There's TriTech, which is skill center programming for high school students. And then along with Richland and Pasco, we have Delta High School, which is a STEM-focused program for 9-12. When we think about our vision and our goal, it's really right there on the screen. Our goal is to provide a variety of unique, high-quality learning options within our district, so students who are looking for something different from a big comprehensive high school, right, they can stay enrolled in our district and we can meet their needs. They can access different options and choices that meet the needs of students and families. So really our vision is to make these programs the very best they can possibly be. So that's the work that we've been focused on for the last couple of years. You know, when you look about, you think about alternative education, alternative programs, there's lots of research out there that we look at that kind of helps us point to what should we be looking at when we're doing these program reviews. And so we use that to inform our work. And then I wanted to and I want to point out that the sheets that I sent to you last Friday for legacy were kind of off. We had some numbers, open doors numbers in there that shouldn't have been in there and so forth. So the numbers that were off had to do with enrollment and class of 2024 graduation rates. So those are updated on the data sheets that are in front of you and on the screen. So I'm not going to talk through all of this data, but just as we're talking or as you're thinking, you can look at some of the enrollment, attendance, graduation, dual credit data, on track for graduation, that kind of thing. So I do want to highlight just real quick, so Legacy High School, what makes it different? It's smaller. They have a 4-period day there. So in a typical comprehensive high school, there's a 6-period day and students can earn 6 credits a year. Times 4 years of high school, that's 24 credits. At Legacy High School, they have a 4-period day. You can earn 8 credits a year. And if students access 0 7-period classes, they can really earn 10 credits a year. So sometimes students enter Legacy as 9th graders. Sometimes they're coming to Legacy credit deficit, but there's some ability for them to catch up more at Legacy than if they were credit deficit and continuing on at their comprehensive high school. So the data that you have in front of you is both that, quantitative data around enrollment and graduation and dual credit, but then also the last 3 years of student survey data, just so you can get a sense of what are students saying about their school. So you just have that in front of you to reference, along with a little bit of data from School Links. And I thought this data was interesting. I went in there and I dug this out because I think it shows that regardless of where our students go to school, they have post-secondary goals, right? They have plans and goals for after high school. And so this data I think is good for us to look at to see, A, are we helping students really kind of maximize their fullest potential, and B, is the programming that we're providing aligning with their post-secondary plans? It's really what we were just talking about with Ron, right? If kids are wanting to go into certain fields or trades, are there opportunities for them to experience that through an internship or course of study in their high school? So I'm not going to go through all of that, but you've got it in front of you. We also have on the slide, not in the data sheets, just a reminder. We actually went over this pretty recently when we did a presentation, an update a couple of months ago, but just some what are they doing right now when we're doing this program review and what are we focusing on? These are the kinds of things that they're focusing on at Legacy High School. So you've got all of that for Legacy, Endeavor, and Phoenix is really what we're focusing on tonight. And so I can go back to any slides that you want as we discuss this. These are those current improvement efforts at Endeavor. Remember, they're doing a new online learning platform this year, an adoption for that. That's one of the big things. And then Phoenix, all their data and information and kind of where they're focusing on where they're focusing their improvement efforts this year. So I guess with that, we've got a good 20 minutes to talk about what you guys want to talk about in terms of vision for alternative programs, because really where this came up was we did a program update and there were some questions and you said, let's have a study session so we can really hear from the board.
I mean, my first question is just looking over you pointed it out, the goals, the post-secondary goals. I don't think we have one group that has maybe 50% of the kids are responding to that.
Yeah,
so it's difficult to have confidence in what their responses are if we're missing 50% of the kiddos.
And part of that has to do with the timeline for when we implemented School Links and which classes, like 9th graders, what tasks they're doing, what tasks 10th graders, 11th and 12th graders are doing. I thought Alyssa was coming this way because I thought she was going to comment, but she's not. But yeah, I mean, this is just the data that we have today in the system.
Okay.
So I think I don't know, I think Gabe and I have kind of been, wanted to have this on the agenda for a while. Gabe and I have talked a lot about this. I think we're 95% in lockstep on this subject. Talked to the last three principals, vice principals. So I formulated an opinion about this. I've been to all these schools, obviously. My thought and my vision for this program is the number one thing is to get all these schools on the same campus. And I think that's really, really important to be able to manage and succeed. And I believe that all the last three principals will probably say the same. I'm pretty sure they would say the same thing. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but vice principals, so I think that everybody's mostly in agreement. I think in agreement with that. The next thing I would say is that
Just a point of clarification for everyone. When you say all these programs, are you really specifically
Phoenix, Endeavor,
you're
Legacy.
talking about Phoenix, Legacy, and Endeavor? So
Yes.
Currently Endeavor is fully online, but their staff is located on the campus of Legacy. And then, of course, Legacy is located on Legacy's campus. So you're really expressing interest in having
Phoenix move over.
Phoenix be on the campus of Legacy.
Absolutely, yes. And furthermore, the next step I would love to take is it doesn't make sense to me why we have three high schools. To me, all that could be one high school. Then you're renting one graduation space. You have one. It just streamlines everything to me. And I also feel like it would give the kids a better education when they're there. And then maybe one kid is going to class, and then maybe he doesn't need to go to class because there's a subject he's really good at, or maybe he's struggling with math, and maybe that's the one he goes into school. So he goes to school for one period. Or maybe there's a science-based thing where he's very interested in, and he or she wants to do more of a hands-on learning. And not one student, we can adapt things, I feel like, so much better if we kind of combine these things. And then we just have one graduation. I'd also like to maybe see the campus expand. I would love to see like a track. I'd love to see if they have more of a high school feel to it, where they feel like this is like a legit high school that they can be really proud of. And so I know that would take a capital project to do that, but we also have the Phoenix building, and maybe we can do something with that, and we can generate revenue to help pay for some of it. I don't know, but that's my vision, is to have them all on the same campus. Personally, I would like to have them all be the same school, so that kids could sort of use all three curriculums, and I think that it'd just be a better educational experience for them. That's my vision. Said quickly.
I just needed some clarification. So on the enrollment, for example, at Legacy High School, is that 178 kids total in the program? Or is that a cumulative of the 4 years?
That's the total.
Right, so
program.
that's what I thought. But if we look back on the students with goals set, there are 368 is what it says is available. And you can see for each of these, the numbers don't seem to match up at all.
Well, so I got 161. I'm sorry, that's
No.
students by college.
So the post-secondary goals, it says
Yeah.
students with goals set, it's out of 368, it says 181,
Yeah.
which doesn't make sense if you only have 178 in the program. Similarly, on Endeavor, you have 95 kids. And I'll come back to that one in a second, but again,
Yeah.
it says it's out of 449.
Mhm.
And then out of 118, when we only have 60 kids at Phoenix.
Yeah,
So I
I hear what you're saying. What I don't know is, and I'll follow up and
Yeah.
double check with Abby. Like, I don't know if that means like of the total goals. I just don't know. But I hear what you're saying, and the data might be
numbers-
off.
Yeah, the numbers don't make sense.
Yeah.
And if you don't have good numbers, then you can't make reasonable assessments. The
Yeah.
other thing I didn't understand when I was going through this is Endeavor lost essentially almost half of its attendance or enrollment between 2022 and 2024. Is that because 2022 was COVID? Are we coming back down to more of a baseline? And what was that baseline pre-COVID, so we can expect what the enrollment actually looks like?
So Endeavor didn't exist pre-COVID. We had a program called Lola. It was Legacy Online.
Okay.
And it was more like some online classes, credit recovery that students who were, if you were enrolled in Legacy, you could
You could also do
access Lola. When COVID hit, there was a high demand for fully online learning and people didn't want to have to enroll in Legacy to access online learning. That's when we made the shift of really taking Lola and making it into a fully independent online high school, still on the campus of Legacy, but you just enroll directly in Endeavor instead of enrolling in Legacy. Like whoever wants to enroll in Endeavor enrolls in Endeavor. So we went through the whole process. Some board members will remember we named the school and the mascot and everything like that. So it's a separate entity now. What they have done is there's a real effort to try to ensure that the students who are enrolling in online are going to be successful in online, and that we're avoiding a situation where a student is struggling at their comprehensive high school. They get enrolled in online and they're not engaging, they're not, being successful. So we're trying to make sure that we're matching students and families with the program, which is anyway why you see some fluctuation in numbers there.
Yeah, the other thing I'd be interesting, especially with all the budgetary restraints, to know both sides, and that is what is the cost per student compared to our traditional high schools? So, for example, if we find that one of these is significantly less than our regular high schools, we should probably be looking at saying we should be increasing our funding for some of these high schools. If as we look into the numbers and say, okay, are we shortchanging? I noticed on some of these, one of the things that most often was a lower number on several of these, the student feedback was on diverse courses. Usually that was in the 80s, where a lot of this stuff was in the 90s, in the 50s, 60s. It was one of the lower on almost every single one was the diversity of their courses. And so it made me wonder, do they have a broad access to different things? I think to Micah's point, I think if we're looking at this and saying, look, by potentially bringing these together to some degree, would that provide a broader opportunity for these kids? Would be able to maybe do things in a more, give them access to more opportunities with minimal changes in cost? And would we be able to maybe even more closely align the goals of these institutions with the needs of the students?
So I actually think that bringing them all onto one campus certainly helps the staff and helps the school district, but I don't think from a student perspective that it actually enhances their education at all, because the three programs are very, very different. Mm-hmm. Phoenix is meant to be a project-based high school. There's some challenges there. It's not fully yet what it's supposed to be, but Guy's working hard on that. And I think that if you're picking the project-based high school, you're not going to be interested in what Legacy has to offer. And Legacy is primarily for our students that are credit deficient. And so probably the reason why you're seeing a low score in the variety of classes is because it is it's bare bones. It's just, we're getting you the credits you need so that you can graduate. Endeavor is a fully online high school. And I can see the argument that you might have some students at either Phoenix or Legacy that might want to or need to take advantage of what Endeavor can offer, but they can do that still on their campuses. So as far as bringing them all together on one campus, I guess I don't have a strong feeling about it one way or the other than in order to be able to do it, it would be a capital project. We'd have to enhance the space that we already have at Legacy. And I don't know that the argument, to me, I don't see how combining the programs on one campus enhances the education enough to go through what we would need to do through a capital project to be able to make it one campus. I think where our time is better spent is really looking at the missions of each one of these schools and deciding, are they meeting the needs of the subset of students that are there? How can we enhance it? And I feel like Guy is doing a good job of that. This is his second year, and he's really taking a good look at each one of these programs and saying, okay, are we accomplishing our mission? Are the students getting out of it what they need to get out of it? He's made some hard decisions.
One, And I guess the other question I would ask is there ways to integrate some of these students back into the traditional high schools? If there's possibilities to do that, that would give them access to broader opportunities and broader choice. If we can find ways to integrate that, I don't know if that's something that can be done. I think I agree. A big capital expense, especially in the current environment, current economic environment, we want to be careful. I think the argument can be made, and I don't know the numbers. If the capital expense, if there would be big cost savings down the road by doing this, then it may offset, and finance may not be a discussion. But I think I would agree with you, if we're talking about a major capital expense that has no economic benefit down the road, it would be hard to do. I mean, for all of the things we're trying to spend money on right now,
And
it would be difficult.
You also have a building you just freed up that you can do something with.
Yeah, I mean, and again, if capital is offset, say, okay, well, really, it's a cost neutral or even a cost plus, then I think the discussion becomes more.
It'd be interesting to have Guy weigh in on what it's like being the administrator over two different locations, because I don't know.
Locations.
Well, Endeavor's there at Legacy's campus.
No, well, he also has the JCC.
JJC.
or
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's kind of running around.
Well, he can't bring that
So
to one
you
campus.
cannot.
That's got to stay separate. So,
But I mean, all three principals I've talked to have all expressed difficulty of.
So I do think,
Right,
in recent years, we added a shared assistant principal that wasn't there before. So we've got a halftime assistant principal to help Guy, and halftime assistant principal to help carry over at MCP when we added the online program there. It's probably not enough, and I know it would be different pots of money, but I think if the concern is about like administrator capacity, then it would be more cost effective, I think, to hire a full-time, make our half-time person full-time or something, or to hire two principals, right? That would be probably more cost realistic than building a new building on the campus of Legacy. I don't know if that would accomplish everything that's like your interest or Gabe's interest. I do want to also just mention a couple things real quick, but on the cost compared, we can look at that. Endeavor is funded differently. So some programs are basic ed funded. Endeavor and MCP both are ALE funded, Alternative Learning Education WAC funded. Anyway, so the funding model's a little bit different.
Got it. So we don't get the same amount per student.
Yeah, and so we can follow up and give you sort of how that works. Yeah. And then on dual enrollment, it is possible now. We do allow students, like if you wanted to be enrolled in partially, like halftime at Legacy and halftime at Endeavor, you can do that. I mean, because you're halftime online, or even halftime at Phoenix. I don't know that we have anybody doing that, but it is possible, because then the other part of your day you would be home because you'd be accessing online. Now I don't think we'd have any kids, and I don't know how it would work to do like dual enrolled at Legacy and Phoenix, because they're not on the same.
And you can't do it with the traditional high schools because the class schedule is different.
Yeah, I mean, correct? It's a little challenging, but you can be dual enrolled partially in Endeavor and partially in your home high school.
You can. Oh, Endeavor.
Yeah, Endeavor. And I don't know, what's interesting is we don't prevent students from returning to their home high school, or if they never started at their home high school, if, it's 11th grade and now they wanted to go to their neighborhood high school. I just don't know that we have typically students like where they are. And even on that one question, I have access to diverse course offerings, activities, and athletics. So what we don't know is, are they saying they don't have access to athletics? Because that's true. They don't have athletic teams or the same kind of extracurriculars. So we could find out that a little bit more by maybe digging into that question.
And in truth, to Brittany's point earlier, again, I mean, you look at the number of people answering these surveys. I mean, Endeavor, it's 13 kids.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm always careful when your numbers are so low and reflect such a small portion of. You got to be careful about what you jump to assess. But I just, yeah, I just look at it and say, okay, are they each serving, to your point, are they each serving their purpose? Are they serving their mission? Is there ways to streamline or make things easier for everyone? I mean, for example, could Endeavor become a branch of the the Mid-Columbia Partnership, MCP? Because in a sense, they're very similar.
Yeah,
You've
just
got
one's
one doing
K-8
K
and one's
and
912. Yeah.
912.
Mhm.
Fundamentally, what is the difference? And so it might make more sense to just say, instead of having a whole new high school, now that COVID's over, we may not need a whole new high school. Let's just have it be part of MCP. And that may make a lot more sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where I would say, if we're going to expend energy on this, looking at saying, do we need these? And then as we go forward, again, one of my concerns is you look at, and granted, this is a different population, but you look at the goals they're expressing, and then, when you're looking at their goals and then saying, okay, are we achieving these goals? For example, I know these numbers are not good. We can't see, but roughly 70% of them are saying that they want to proceed with some type of secondary, either college or university. And yet you're looking at them and you're saying 43% of the class is graduating this year. Last year, or 2023, is 29%. There's no way that even,
Yeah.
most of those kids are even able to attain that goal. So,
Yeah.
so I would argue that we're not achieving our goals at Phoenix. We probably need to look really closely at Phoenix and say, are we achieving what we're intending? Because it looks like we're not.
So Gabe asked me to ask a question. I want to make sure I ask it. The question that Gabe wanted me to ask was, with Endeavor, couldn't you take the online teachers, move them back to the high schools, and then have those kids at their primary high schools, and would that also work? But I like what Josh saying, Endeavor with Mid-Columbia Partnership. I like that idea. There's a big space there. Now all of a sudden with a couple portables, you can move Phoenix right over. You can have a project-based school right there, and then you have the free space over there to do something with, to rent, to sell, to do something with, and then I can't imagine that not offsetting when there's not really a big capital project. You're just moving a couple portables or something, and you're opening up a space inside. So I just feel like if we're creative and we think through it, I think that there's a way to make that happen and a way to combine it. I just think it's kind of silly when you go to a graduation, there's like 8 kids there, and you're like, why are we renting this space? Why are we doing all this stuff? Why isn't, and then you got another one that's got 16 kids, and you got another one that's got, and you're like, why aren't we just doing this all together?
And maybe that's something we look at, is saying, look, we're going to have
Just
the
like
alternative
efficiency.
high schools graduate all at once in one meeting.
Just something. I mean, just that, and you're printing off. It just doesn't seem very efficient to me when you can kind of maneuver these around. And so, anyway, that was Gabe's question. Could you move the online portion back to the primary schools? Wanted me to ask you that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, all of these are possibilities, right? It's just kind of thinking through, like, what are you guys thinking? And then, like, going back and trying to do a little bit of analysis and kind of what the pros and cons. I think one challenge of that is teaching in an online setting is very, very different from teaching in a brick and mortar setting. And, having all of the online teachers, like, be able to collaborate and work together and, versus kind of being scattered out, and having like one sort of leader who's leading that work and professional development and things for them. I can see the value in them being together instead of like dispersed.
And if they were part of Mid-Columbia Partnership,
Yeah, I mean, I see that as a,
How many teachers are there at Endeavor?
well, we just did some,
Yeah, are we at 2?
what do we got? Three Endeavor and MCP 3, right? Or 4? No, I'm sorry, 3. Thank you.
So 6 total for the entire district.
Correct.
Okay.
I think that's something maybe we should look at, especially with declining enrollment in Endeavor.
Full high school, you have 3 kids, teachers.
You know, if we've got significantly declined enrollment, particularly the next couple of years, if we find that it continues to decline like it is, probably make more sense to slide it over to Mid-Columbia Partnership and just have Mid-Columbia Partnership be a K-12.
Make it K-12.
We have a huge space inside of Legacy for Endeavor, and I've been in there a lot of times, and there's like 1 kid in there, 2 kids in there.
Yeah, because it's online. I mean, so
Right,
the
I know.
space is really for the staff, right? Because the kids
Oh,
are.
it's-
Well, and there's a
not
lab
there.
there.
It's,
Yeah, yeah.
Right, but I mean, like, you don't need, my point is, you could easily slide them into Mid-Columbia Partnership and have a small little classroom and
Yeah.
do the same thing,
With the
you know?
staff, yeah, because it's just staff members.
And that's, and now Guy can focus on,
And I think the nice thing about having the elementary or the K-8 at MCP is I do think that there are students who are taking some things in the partnership side and some things on the online side.
I think it benefits the kids where they can do that, right? Even if
Yeah.
you're Endeavor kids, they can go in or
Could
once in a while. or-
potentially do that in
It's
the
the
K.
same- it just
Yeah,
gives
because
them- now it gives that
MCP,
kid
the
more
parent partnership's
options.
K-12. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely,
And you have space, you move Phoenix over and.
yeah, I don't think the space that Endeavor is currently
It's not
in
equal.
wouldn't accommodate Phoenix.
Yeah, so you might have to add a couple portables, and it's not a crazy thing.
Okay.
Trying to think of.
Any other comments? So the takeaway is you're gonna look into some things, and I would encourage everybody to go visit those schools, our board to go visit those schools. I know, Brittany, you have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A number of times.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, well, with that, I guess we're going to take about a half an hour break, 25-minute break, and we'll be back here at,
Start the meeting at
5:30.
5:30.
okay.
Thanks, everybody.